Have you ever noticed that an unfinished task keeps bothering you, even when you're trying to relax? A text you never replied to, a book you never finished, or a project you promised yourself you'd complete someday. What's strange is that your brain often remembers unfinished tasks better than completed ones. It's almost as if your mind refuses to let them go. This isn't laziness, and it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. In fact, psychologists have studied this behavior for nearly a century, and it has a name. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect. The Zeigarnik Effect is the tendency for our brains to remember unfinished tasks more easily than completed ones. It's why an unanswered email, an incomplete goal, or even a paused TV series can stay on your mind for days. But why does your brain do this? And how can you use it to become more productive instead of more stressed? Let's find out. To understand why this happens, we need to go back almost 100 years to a simple psychology experiment that changed how we understand memory. In the 1920s, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something unusual. Waiters in busy restaurants could remember unpaid orders with incredible accuracy, but once the bill was paid, they quickly forgot the details. Curious about this, she ran experiments. People were asked to complete different tasks, but some of them were interrupted before they could finish. Later, participants remembered the unfinished tasks much better than the completed ones. That simple discovery became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. And even today, your brain works in a surprisingly similar way. An unfinished task stays mentally active, quietly asking for your attention. But here's where things get really interesting. The Zeigarnik Effect doesn't just explain why unfinished tasks stay in your mind. It can also explain why procrastination feels so exhausting. Think about the last time you avoided an important task. Even while watching a movie, scrolling through social media, or trying to relax, that unfinished task was probably still sitting in the back of your mind. That's because your brain wants closure. The longer a meaningful task stays unfinished, the more mental space it can occupy. Here's the surprising part. You don't have to finish the whole task. Sometimes simply starting for 5 minutes is enough to reduce resistance. Here's the part that most people never realize. Your brain isn't asking you to finish the entire task today. More often, it's simply asking for progress. The pressure to complete everything at once is usually something we create in our own minds. Think about the last time you had a big assignment, an important work project, or even a messy room that needed cleaning. You probably looked at the whole task and immediately felt overwhelmed. The more difficult it looked, the easier it became to delay it. So instead of starting, you told yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow became next week, and the task continued to occupy space in your mind. This creates a frustrating cycle. The longer you wait, the heavier the task feels. And the heavier it feels, the less likely you are to begin. It's not because you're lazy, it's because your brain is reacting to the size of the challenge. Psychologists have found that breaking a large task into very small actions can reduce that mental resistance. Instead of focusing on the finish line, focus on the very first step. Open the document, write one sentence, read one page, organize one folder. These tiny actions may seem insignificant, but they send a powerful signal to your brain that the task has finally begun. And once you begin, Once you've taken that first small step, your brain starts to see the task differently. It no longer feels like a huge mountain standing in your way. Instead, it becomes something you've already started. That simple shift can make a bigger difference than most people realize. This is why many successful students, athletes, writers, and entrepreneurs focus on consistency instead of waiting for motivation. They don't expect to feel inspired every single day. They simply show up, even if it's only for a few minutes. Over time, those small actions turn into habits, and those habits create remarkable results. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to make progress. Because every time you return to a task, you're teaching your brain that finishing what you started is normal. And little by little, that feeling of resistance begins to disappear. But there's one final reason unfinished tasks stay in your mind, and understanding it could completely change the way you work.
The next time you catch yourself avoiding an important task, don't immediately assume you're lazy or lacking discipline. More often than not, your brain is simply reacting the way it was designed to. It sees a large, unfinished challenge and tries to protect you from the discomfort that comes with it. But now you know something most people don't. You know that the hardest part isn't finishing the task. The hardest part is taking the first step. Once you begin, your brain slowly shifts from resistance to momentum, and what felt impossible starts to feel manageable. So the next time you have something important to do, forget about finishing it perfectly. Just start.